Okay, this is going to be a video on how to put together your sauna and also a few little tips you may want to know about if you're putting together your own sauna. Okay, so you can see that there's obviously the opening zipper here, but this zipper does go all the way around and then back on the back, and it's also down here, if you look down here on the bottom. Okay, so when you get the sauna, it's going to be probably mostly unzipped. You're going to want to make sure that whole thing is unzipped. Okay, if you look inside, you're going to see that there's essentially just a series of metal snap holes. So you're going to have 8 corner pieces, 4 for the top, 4 for the bottom, and then you're going to have your 8 cross pieces, and then you actually have 16 of the other ones, and they all just snap together. It's a very basic, just snap in place. It's pretty simple. The big thing you're going to want to know is to, again, unzip this whole thing completely, put these things inside, snap them together, and then pull the outer shell around it. Okay, that part's all pretty self-explanatory, but there are a couple other things here. So you're gonna see this thing here, and actually there's like a little pouch here where there's gonna be some wires coming from the back of the unit down into here. Okay, that's actually gonna be coming from your electrical source. That's what's gonna be the thing that's gonna generate the heat. Okay, if you look, you're gonna see that there's these side pads. They're gonna go around on all 3 sides, and on the corner of these side pads you're going to actually have a little electrical plug. Okay, and you're gonna have one in this corner here, you're gonna have one in this corner, and then you're gonna have one over here in this corner. Okay, these are gonna have, I believe it was the male end on it, and then the female end is actually gonna come out of here. So you're gonna have 2 on this side, and then you actually have one that goes behind here and just pops out over here, and you're gonna plug that in. And when you plug all 3 of those things in, that's gonna be your primary heat source, okay? The only other really thing going on from an installation standpoint is you're gonna have this little wire here, which you're gonna wanna run through this little piece of whatever this is, and that's gonna go into this, which is your light, okay? So you're gonna snap that in. It's got just a little electrical snap thing here that you're going to snap it in place. That's going to be the actual red light, but again, your heat source is actually down here. Okay, you can see that there's a chair, so there's that in place. And then now here, let's get to some of the things where people have had some problems or some issues. So let me stop for a minute, and I'm going to reset things. Okay, along with the other wires coming down, you're going to have an additional wire that comes down here, and it connects to your foot pad. This is obviously going to go on the bottom of the sauna where you put your feet. A couple of things that I've seen in terms of problems that people have run into. If you turn this foot pad on, and you turn it up pretty high heat, it gets very, very hot. A lot of people complained and said, it felt like it was burning their feet. So as I was using this, and I've used it a couple times, I noticed that, you also get this bottom pad right here. Okay, and it is made of mesh, and it's made of a similar material as what you're going to find on your side components that actually do the heating of the sauna. And that's when it dawned on me that probably more than likely, and again, the instructions aren't always clear, the heating pad should go under here, but it makes a lot more sense to actually just put that bottom floor pad on top of the heating pad, and then you're not putting your feet directly onto the plastic. Okay, so I would recommend that. I would also recommend turning the heating pad up to full heat if you're going to have it underneath the pad. You won't get burned, but it will help to generate more heat in the sauna. All right, another thing I've seen online is people asking about the remote and saying, oh, the remote has to be outside the sauna. Well, the way that this sauna is designed, it can be used outside or inside. There actually is a pouch on the back of the sauna, I'll show you in a minute, which you can store the remote, but a lot of people didn't seem to realize you can put this remote inside the sauna. All you have to do is, right here, here's your little hole where all your wires are coming through, because here's your electrical unit that's generating the heat. All you have to do is push your remote through, and then you've got plenty of cord right here, and you can actually have your remote with you in the sauna, and you can actually, there's another pouch back here where you can put your remote, or you can put a book or something you want to read, and that way you actually have the remote inside with you. Okay, this is the back of the sauna here. You can see this is a flap here. You could use it as a pouch. Here's your electrical unit, and as you can see, here's the wires running from this into the sauna, and then here is where your remote cable can just go right in that hole. It's very simple, and then you have your remote with you. And then, of course, you also have your electrical outlet plug coming over here, and this is just your standard outlet. You can plug that into a normal wall. You're gonna wanna make sure that you unplug it after each use, okay? It's not, this sauna is not designed to be used or plugged in all the time. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is actually the thermostat and the temperature of this sauna. I've got that, and I've also got the remote here. There's a couple things that I've learned. So this little mechanism right here in the back, that's actually what's keeping track of your temp. So I made sure that I kind of, when I got my sauna, it was kind of crammed up here and kind of coiled up. I just made sure it was loose and as close to the bottom of the sauna where you're actually going to be sitting, because again, remember, that's where your heat is. But more importantly, here's your remote. You can turn it on and off. Obviously, it's not plugged in at this moment. You're going to set the heat, set the time. You can set the foot. But here's the important thing you need to know about this remote. Okay, a lot of the criticisms and concerns I saw online related to the temperature of the sauna. The sauna advertises that it can get to 140 degrees. When you turn this thing on, you'll see it say 140. But it's possible that as you're trying to heat up the sauna, you're not going to get 140 readout. Okay, I've discovered why that is. If you put this remote outside, if you keep it outside of the sauna and you don't keep it inside the sauna with you, regardless of the fact that this thermostat thing is here, for whatever reason, this will not give you an accurate readout. It's probably going to read about somewhere between 110 and 120. Mine was oscillating between like 113 and 116, kind of depending on the time. So right around 114, 150 degrees. However, when I moved this into here, into the actual sauna and kept it in the sauna with me, that readout did change, and I got a readout that oscillated between 130 and 140 degrees. So the sauna is getting up to 140 degrees, even though you may not realize it. You'll certainly feel it. And again, the closer this is and that is to the actual heat source, the more accurate that reading is going to be. I found I turned this thing on, I threw the remote in here, and it was, you know, pretty warm pretty quick. You'll know when it hits 140 because you'll hear it click off. And the same way that an air conditioning unit kind of has like a feedback loop. Once it hits 140, it'll click off and it'll cool off a few degrees, and then it'll warm back up and click on. So it will get to 140 degrees. Overall, the sauna seems very nice. The material here you can see is kind of like this, I don't know, reflective substance. I was afraid it was going to be a lot of like vinyl plastic. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but it does seem to be effective. I have not had to actually clean it yet because I've only used it a couple times, so I'm curious on that, how that process goes. I know they give you some tips in the actual hand guide of kind of what to do, but that's basically it. You're going to be sitting kind of down here. It's only big enough for one person, but it's fine for one person. And in that particular area where you're sitting, it will get very warm. You'll work up a good sweat. It will reach 140 degrees. Your remote will notify you of that as long as it's inside, but if it's outside, you won't get an accurate reading. And again, I don't even put my feet directly on the floor mat. I put the pad over top of it, and that keeps my feet plenty warm.